Hey guys, YouTube 100 here. Alright, and yeah, it's been like 15 days now since I have made a video, yeah. The reason why it's once again taking me a little while is because, as I've told you, I've been like working on videos that are like video game related. And yeah, and if you can, as you can see by the title of the video, yeah, this is one of them. So yeah, so I have been like working on this, and it's taken me like a little while to really get through doing this stuff to really make this video. But yeah, I finally got through everything, so yeah, now I'm ready to make this video. Yeah, and plus also, I've also been like kind of like occupied because I have just now started a new job. Yeah, yeah. So I haven't been working ever since like December. So yeah, I've been looking for another job since then, and yeah, and I finally have found one. So yeah, and I just started like my first official day working today. So yeah, yeah, so I've been like a little preoccupied with that for a little while too. But yeah, now I have finally found another job. So yeah, so I've been like kind of preoccupied with that as well as like finishing out the stuff that I need to do to make this video. Yeah. But yeah, but now I finally am ready to make this video. So yeah, and as you can see by the title, you know what this is about. So if you remember back in January, I did a video like making like kind of like a retrospective on like the entire WWF and WWE SmackDown video game series, where I was talking about like the games from the first SmackDown game all the way through WWE 13. Yeah, so yeah, I did that video really just going through like each game and really just giving like a summary of each one of them. Yeah. And so yeah, and that video did seem to get some positive reception. So yeah, so I decided that I would make another one. And as you can see by the title of the video, this is going to be for the WWE Nintendo GameCube games. So yeah, so the, oh yeah, so there, so the WWE GameCube games, and these are games that like people do overall like seem to like for the most part. I mean, yeah, I mean these were really like very popular amongst like a lot of people nationally anyway. Like here in like the U.S., like I remember like these games really were like really praise, and they were like popular amongst the community. But yeah, I've heard like people like internationally saying that like these games really were not like really like hyped up really that big. So yeah, so these games really were not like all that popular internationally. But yeah, over time, like there, I've seen like reviews from people like internationally of these games, and yeah, and they have like for the most part really had a positive reaction to these games. So yeah, so these games overall like did receive like a pretty good reception from everybody. Yeah, but yeah, these games like I think the problem with these games mostly is that just like when it came time when like these games really like had to compete with the other games, particularly like the games on the PS2, because yeah, of course, like these games like were released like between 2002 and 2005, and this was of course still like during the time that like there were still like the SmackDown and SmackDown versus Raw like games that were being released for the PlayStation 2. Yeah, and yeah, and yeah, and that's really like what the problem was with these games, because these games really just could not compete with those games, and plus, yeah, these games really did not sell nearly as well as the games on the PS2 that were being released at the same time. So yeah, and that's really like what is like the main flaw with these games. Well, it's not really a flaw, but it really is like the problem why these games really did like suffer, and they really were not like very they didn't really sell as well as the PS2 games at all, and that really is like the main um, problem with these games. Well, it really is, I guess, like why like they didn't really last very long, and there were only like 4 games in total that were released for the GameCube. And so yeah, so that really is like why these games really just haven't really like seemed to really like get like the cult following that the SmackDown series has over the years. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, like these games still like were received pretty well for the most part. I mean, I remember playing these games as a kid and I liked them. Yeah, and for the most part, like I said, most other people really do seem to enjoy them as well. So yeah, so I decided that I would actually talk about these games, really make a retrospective for these also, and really just talk about like what they had, really just were these really like worthy contenders to really go up against the SmackDown games, even though they didn't really succeed as well, like with in sales and everything. So yeah, so that's what this video is going to be. I am going to uh, talk about the WWE GameCube games, and yeah, I'm just going to go through each one and really just really talk about them and just give a summary for each one, just like I did with the SmackDown games before. Yeah. So luckily, since there's only like four of these games, yeah, this video will not be nearly as long as the SmackDown game series video that I did. Because if you watch my video on the SmackDown game series, that like lasted like over like almost an hour and 40 minutes. So yeah, because there were just like so many games for me to go through in that video. So yeah, but yeah, luckily for this one, this is just 4 games. So yeah, so this video will not be nearly as long as that one. But since that also that there are like so much fewer games in the SmackDown series, in this video I may go into a little bit more detail about the games. And since there's like there's only 4 games like I and stuff. Since there's only 4, and with the SmackDown ones there were like many, and I wanted to kind of like really like go through each one as quick as I could to really not make it like 3 hours long. Yeah, here since there's only 4 games, since I will have it's not going to be as long, I may like go into a little bit more depth into each game. All right, but anyway. Okay, yeah, but with all that said, let me get started. So yeah, so this is going to be my retrospective on the WWE GameCube games. All right, so let's get started. All right, so the first WWE game for the GameCube was WrestleMania 18. So yeah, so this game was of course like released in 2002. I think it was like released in like sometime during the summer of 2002. It was like around June when this game was released. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, this game was like also developed by Ukes, who were like the same developers for the SmackDown game series. Yeah, in fact, like all these games were developed by Ukes. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, right off the bat, the one thing that I want to address about this game is, of course, as you can see, like on the cover, it does have like the WWE logo, but of course, like this game was released in 2002, like during the whole World Wildlife Fund lawsuit. Yeah, and I think that this game like came out just like right after the name change. Yeah, and what I find funny about this is that even though like it does have the WWE logo on the cover, and there's even like disclaimers when you start up the game with saying World Wrestling Entertainment, like in the actual game itself, it still does use the WWF logo. So yeah, I find it kind of funny that despite the fact that they had the WWE logo here, in the actual game still uses the WWF logo. Yeah, I remember when I like first played this game as a kid, I was like kind of confused as to why they had the WWF logo in the game when it was the WWE logo on the cover. Yeah. Nah, I guess like they just really didn't have time to really like go back into the game and change all the WWF logos that are in the game, because yeah, in the menu screen it's the WWF logo, and yeah, and even like in championship modes in the game, like it still like has the WWF logo when champions are labeled. So well, yeah, so I found that kind of funny. But yeah, so this game, like, it received like kind of a mixed reception when it did come out. Like, there was people that really did feel disappointed by this game, especially like compared to games like SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, which came out the same year. And I guess I can kind of understand why people felt kind of disappointed by it, since it was developed by Ukes, and since like Ukes really does know what they're doing. And yeah, but for on the other hand, I mean, this still was like the first game from the WWE that was like on the GameCube. Yeah, and with the GameCube like having like a different amount of storage space than the PlayStation games do. I really don't know if like Ukes really did like know like how much space they were really able to put on they really had to make this game and for the GameCube. Yeah. So I guess like it is kind of like understandable like why this game really like seemed to really be lacking in content. That really does seem it really seemed to be like the game's like main flaw. It was that or main criticism was that it was pretty lacking in content. And yeah, it was. I mean, it did have like a really big number of matches in it. Like you had like just a normal one-on-one match, a tag team match, triple threat, fatal four-way, handicap, Royal Rumble and stuff. Yeah, and plus, yeah, there were a bunch of stipulations like steel cage, Hell in a Cell, uh, Iron Man, and and just yeah, a whole bunch of different stipulations for matches in the game. Yeah, and also what I liked about this game was that was the opening video that it had because yeah. Yeah, because if you've seen like the opening video for this game, like it does actually use like full motion video from the actual WrestleMania 18 event, and I really did find it really eh, cool to see that because, yeah, of course, like the GameCube was Nintendo's first CD based console because yeah, prior to this, like of course, like their game systems all used cartridges with like the NES, the Super Nintendo, and the N64. Yeah, but this was when they actually like switched to CDs, and yeah, this was when they were finally able to really use like full motion video footage. And it was cool to see that. It really did kind of like feel like reminiscence of a lot of like a lot of PS1 games because because of course like there were like a lot of wrestling games on the PS1 that did have like full motion video openings and then like WC like the various WCW games and the two SmackDown games, and even like Warzone and Attitude. So yeah, so it really did feel reminiscent of that to really like watch like this opening and be in full motion video like that. Yeah, yeah, but like I said, the game was like kind of uh received kind of a mixed reception from people because they just felt that the game was really lacking because like I said, you did have like a good amount of matches in there, and the gameplay overall wasn't really that bad. The gameplay overall was pretty good. I mean, I remember when I played this game as a kid, I really did enjoy it because yeah, the controls really were like pretty good. Like you had a button to punch, a button to grab, a button to block, a button to run. Yeah, yeah, the controls overall were pretty good in the game. Yeah. And yeah, but yeah, like I said, like this game just really seemed to really kind of be lacking in content because this game didn't have a season mode, and it just seemed like it was just very basic. Yeah, because this game it lacked a season mode, and plus it also really didn't have like very many arenas to choose from because if when you like set up a match, you have the option of what arena you want the match to be in, and there's really not a whole lot. Like there's just like WrestleMania, Raw, SmackDown, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Royal Rumble, and that's it. I mean, you do are actually able to like unlock other arenas which are like older versions of arenas. Like the WrestleMania 17 arena is unlockable in the game, and there's like some other like older arenas of the events to unlock in the game. But yeah, it still really is not very many arenas. And like I said, you really don't have like a there is no actual like season mode in the game. All you really do instead of a season mode is you like are able to like go after a championship or defend a championship because yeah, the game has like assigned champions for each title belt that was like in the company at the time. Yeah, and each belt is assigned to like a certain wrestler who actually did hold the championship at the time that WrestleMania did take place. Is that year? Yeah, yeah. And so you do are actually able to challenge for a championship. Like if you can pick anybody to go after a championship, and how it really works, it's similar to like the like what you did in like the WCW Nitro and Thunder games, and even like in WCW NWO Revenge. All it really is just you're facing just several different opponents, and you just have to win matches, and eventually you do get to the champion to challenge for the title belt. Well, yeah, but unlike those games, like this game actually like does it differently because as you progress, like the matches get more complex. Like you start like just having regular one-on-one matches, and then you eventually like find yourselves in like a table match and a ladder match and even like triple threat and fatal four-way, and yeah, all and just yeah, it the matches become like a bigger as you progress through them, and you eventually do a challenge for the championship, and you also do are able to actually defend the championship. Like if you pick the champion, then you'll just have a single match to defend the title. So yeah, and that's pretty much all there really is for that mode. Yeah, yeah. And as far as like the roster in this game, like the roster overall, like it is pretty good. It does have like a lot of the guys that were in the company at the time. You had like The Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, Undertaker, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho, and plus yeah, you also had guys like all three members of the NWO in there: Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall. And it also had Shane McMahon and Stephanie McMahon in the game. And yeah, and there were also like wrestlers feud on lock. You had like Chris Benoit, Rhino, Ric Flair, Vince McMahon. So yeah, so at least like there was like content to actually unlock in the game, but yeah, there were still like people that really did feel like kind of disappointed by the game because it just seemed like very lackluster and average, especially like with the lack of a season mode and arenas and stuff, and plus also like the character models really did like seem like kind of hit and miss too. Yeah, the character models were like pretty hit and miss in the game. Like, yeah, some did look okay, and some really didn't. Yeah, yeah, but at the same time, like, cut. I guess I should kind of like cut them some slack since, like I said, this is like the first WWE game for the GameCube. So, yeah, it is kind of like similar to Just Bring It on the PS2, how that was the first game, and the graphics really didn't look all that great, or at least as good as people really expected them to. So yeah, so that is like a kind of hit and miss, but I guess like it is understandable since it was the first game on the system. Yeah, so yeah, and plus also like the music in the game seemed like just weird. Like the music just really seemed like very funky and really didn't really seem to fit. Like if you played the game, you probably do like know what I am talking about. Yeah. Yeah. And plus also like something else that I found like kind of like odd in the game is like you do have like a Royal Rumble feature in the game. Like I said, like you are able to play Royal Rumbles, but in the game like you do have the option of how many superstars you want in the Rumble. Like it doesn't have to be just 30. You can make it less guys, but yeah. You always like start at number 1 in the match, yeah? And plus, if you get eliminated in the match, it's like, that's it. You can't even rejoin. It's not like how it is in, like, the SmackDown games, where after, like, your superstar is eliminated, you can actually, like, rejoin the Rumble when, like, the next entrant comes out. Here, you can't do that. Like, if you get eliminated from the match, that's it. Like you just are not going to be playing in the Rumble anymore. You just have to watch the whole thing. So, yeah, so I really don't, yeah, that's not one of my favorite points about the game. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess I can kind of like understand why like this game really didn't like really have like the greatest reception in the world, but at the same time, I mean, like I said, this is like the first WWE game for the GameCube, and I guess like this was something to really, he kind of like just something for like them to really just make, and then they when it was out, they then like could kind of like learn from the mistakes, and they wouldn't make them again in the future games. So yeah, so I guess I can kind of like understand why people really were like didn't were kind of like mixed on the game. But me personally, like I did like it. Like I played it a lot as a kid, and I did enjoy it. So yeah, but still, like just it still did receive kind of like a mixed reception because of like the lack of the season mode and just a very lacking content for the most part. But overall, I at least liked it. Yeah. But then the following year, in 2003, then like the game did like spawn a sequel, which was of course WrestleMania 19. So yeah, so this game of course was released in 2003, and how did this one turn out? Well, you may remember I did actually put this game on my top 10 best WWE games, so yeah, I really did like it when it came out, and yeah, and for the most part, I mean, people overall really did seem to have like a better reaction to this game than they did for WrestleMania 18, and yeah, and like it really does is make sense why. I mean, it's they really did like actually like take a look at WrestleMania 18, and they really did see like what they really could improve on, and they did it in this game. Like like they really did like do a better job with this because in this game while like the matches overall they really didn't there was still pretty much like the same number of matches that WrestleMania 18 had, and plus also like it didn't even have like as many arenas as 18 did either. All you really had in this game were like Raw, SmackDown, a SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania 19. Yeah, yeah, but this still like the gameplay was still like really good. Like they did a better job on the character models in this game, and plus, yeah, it did still have a pretty good roster. Or you still have like The Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, Chris Jericho, Kurt Angle, Undertaker, and those guys in here. And you also had like Hulk Hogan was in the game, Brock Lesnar was in the game, you had Goldberg in the game, Vince McMahon was in the game, Scott Steiner. Yeah, so you did have like guys that really weren't like in like a whole lot of WWE games, but were in this one. Yeah, of course, like this was like the only GameCube game that Brock Lesnar was in, and as well as Goldberg, and I think even Scott Steiner too. Yeah, yeah, and the character models in the game, like I said, they were like definitely like better than WrestleMania 18 was. Yeah, they did look like kind of like bigger and bulkier and blockier than they do in real life. But I think that might have been the intent. I think it was like intentional for them to look like that in this game. Yeah, and the music in the game is like much better than it is on WrestleMania 18. This game pretty much does use like the same music that was used in SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, which came out the same year. Yeah, yeah, and plus, yeah, and something else in this game was that whenever you like had like built up like a finishing move or a special move, like when you like were preparing to do it, like you had like invincibility for a period of time, and then you were able to execute your finishing move, which was pretty cool. Yeah, and also in this game, like there you could like bust people open, which I don't think you could actually do in WrestleMania 18. Yeah, in this game you can actually make people bleed, and it is like surprisingly easy to bust people open in the game. Like if you just work on them for a little bit, they will like just start bleeding. Yeah, and I also found it like kind of interesting that when you bust somebody up, the screen just like flashes red for a split second, again, and then you see like the wrestler like bleeding, like just like screaming and stuff and holding themselves. So it was pretty cool that you could like make people bleed in the game. Yeah, yeah. And something else I found like interesting in the game was that there was like you could have table matches in the game, and while you could like just like uh, smash your opponent through like just a regular like table, even if you like just smash them through one of the announce tables, that would count. So yeah, so that was interesting. I don't think that's ever actually been done in an actual table match where you can actually where like they smash their opponent through the announce table to win the match. Yeah, but yeah, I did like how this game really did show that even if you smash somebody through an announce table, that would count. Yeah. Yeah, and also like, of course, like something else that this game is really known for is while it doesn't really have like a full on like season mode, it does have like a revenge mode where you where how it goes is how it starts with you getting like thrown out of the arena by security, and then Stephanie puts you up to actually like taking out like staff for WrestleMania 19 to ruin Vince McMahon's plans and stuff, to like ruin Vince McMahon and stuff. Yeah, this the game doesn't really actually like fully explain like why this is happening, but yeah, the manual for the game actually does give like a more of a description of the revenge mode, and it actually does mention stuff that isn't actually mentioned and in the mode in the game. So yeah, so it is kind of like weird that that this game really does acknowledge some stuff like that when the actual game doesn't. Yeah, and in this revenge mode, like it is like you just taking out just various staff members at um, um places in various locations because yeah, you like are taking out staff from like a construction site and a parking garage and a shopping mall and a harbor. Yeah, and it's like construction workers and security guards and workers and yeah, just all these like different staff members. Yeah, and yeah, and you just basically like have to take them out. You like throw them off edges of cliffs and you like bust them open and you like put them through cars and all this other stuff and you all stuff. Yeah, and there is also like wrestlers that do like make appearances throughout it. Yeah, and so yeah, and pretty much you just like have to like take out like everybody or just like complete missions. You do missions like, of course, like as I said, taking out the staff and getting to a certain spot, and sometimes like retrieving items, and yeah, just like various tasks like that. Yeah, and yeah, this kind of like seems to be something that really is like hit and miss amongst people because there are some people that like it and some people that hate it, which does make sense because on the one hand, like it does get like kind of like annoying and frustrating for some tasks because as I played this, like I was getting kind of like annoyed and frustrated with some parts of it because like there's like a part in the parking garage where you have to like run to a certain spot and you have to like pretty much avoid like drive cars and yeah, and you will like often get like hit by a car and that'll like result in the mission failing and you have to start it over. And there's other times where you do actually have to like climb up a pole and swing to grab an item and then oftentimes you'll fall and then you'll get hit by the car and the mission ends in failure. Yeah, and just stuff like that really just it does make it like very frustrating and annoying. But at the same time, like when you do actually succeed, it is like very satisfying. And yeah, and plus, yeah, when I did play this, just played this when I to make this video, I did finally like complete it for the first time. Like when I played this when I was younger, I never did actually like complete the revenge mode just because it got so annoying and frustrating. I just couldn't continue to play it. But when I just played it to make this video, I finally did do it, and it was very satisfying to finally complete it. Yeah, and plus what was kind of cool is like on the final task of every um location in the revenge mode, like you do like end up like going up against like some sort of like fictional character, and when you do like complete the final task, you actually do unlock that character, which was kind of cool. Yeah, and then like it all like culminates when you do actually face Vince McMahon at WrestleMania. So yeah, so like I said, that mode it's kind of like a hit and miss. Like there are some people that like it and some people that don't, and I do understand both cases for it. Right, yeah, but at least at the same time, like they did actually take advantage of the fact that it is a video game because this was something that you obviously will never see in real life. So it is like nice that they actually did like actually do something and because this is an actual video game. So it is cool that they actually did do something like that. Yeah. Yeah. And this game also does have like King of the Ring modes where you can actually like face off like compete in King of the Ring tournaments and you can face like the go for the WWE Championship or the World Heavyweight Championship or just have like just a regular tournament with nothing at stake. And it also does the same for the Tag Team Championship. And what's cool about it is that you can actually make it like any type of match, which is, like I said, a pretty cool thing where you can actually like toy around with the King of the Ring and make it different than what it is traditionally. Yeah. So overall, WrestleMania 19 overall is a good game. Like it definitely is an improvement over WrestleMania 18. The character models are much better. It does have like more content, and that revenge mode, while annoying and really not for everybody, still is at least worth seeing once. And yeah, and it does. I guess that really does make this game worth playing for people to check out if they're curious enough. So yeah, so overall, WrestleMania 19 is a pretty good game. All right. Yeah, but then the following year, then and they decided to drop the WrestleMania series on the GameCube, and they decided to do something else. They decided to like kind of like go about and make start up like a different series on the GameCube, and that is of course the game that came out the following year in 2004, which was Day of Reckoning. Yeah. So yeah, this game is definitely like very beloved. Like just yeah, if you like, I've seen like reviews from people saying that like just Day of Reckoning is their like some of their most requested reviews for games, and I really can't and disagree with that. I mean, yeah, Day of Reckoning, yeah, this is like a really awesome game. I mean, and yeah, was a game that was very beloved, and yeah, this was when like they really did want to like make a different series and not really just have it be like just named after a pay-per-view event. And yeah, and they really did a really awesome job at this. Yeah, yeah, this is when they actually really did actually. No, I'm saying actually too much. This is when they finally really did really make this seem like a worthy competitor to go up against the SmackDown games, because this time like they actually did have like every like pay-per-view arena, you know, in the game. Though yeah, you had to actually like buy them in the shop zone. Like you only started off with like the Raw and SmackDown arenas in the game, but yeah, you were able to actually like buy the arenas in the shop zone option. Yeah. Yeah, and plus, yeah, they really did like improve on the graphics once again in this game. Yeah, this game really seemed to kind of like have kind of like a relatively short roster, because this game, like the character selection screen in this game, like it is like a scroll through menu, and yeah, and it just seems to kind of like repeat itself kind of quickly. Like it just doesn't seem to really have that big of a roster in the game. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, the graphics in the game, yeah, they are like once again like really really good. Yeah, what I found like kind of like odd about the game is that the camera angle for like in the game, it seems like lower than it usually is in wrestling games. Like I talked about this when I put this game in my top 10 best wrestling games video. How usually like in wrestling games, the camera is kind of like a little bit like high, like it does kind of like have an aerial angle of the ring, sort of. But here it's just kind of seems like it's at eye level. Yeah. Yeah, but here, like, the controls in this game are pretty much the same as they are in WrestleMania 19, and it really does have, like, the same music and such, and it really does really give you, like, the same feel, because it does kind of, like, have, like, pretty much the same controls. It does still have, like, the same like, invincibility, in a way, when you are able to pull your finisher, though, yeah, but in WrestleMania 19, like, if you got hit while you, like, had your, like, were preparing to do your special move, like if you did like have that invincibility, like whenever you got hit with a move, you would get like right back up. But here, that's really not what happens. Like if you get hit while you're like have that like are preparing for your finisher, like you will actually like stay down for a period of time. So now you don't like get right back up in this one. But yeah, it was still like a really awesome game. Like, so for the people that did have in the game, like, it still did have, like, a pretty good roster. And plus, this game also did, like, have legends in the game, just like how they did in, like, SmackDown versus Raw, where, yeah, you did have, like, legends in the game. It had, like, Roddy Piper, Andre the Giant, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, The Rock, and stuff. And, yeah, it did have, like, some legends added to the game, which was pretty cool. Yeah. But what really does, like, stand out about this game is the season mode, because yeah, this is when like they finally did like get you have a season mode in the game, and in this game like it really did have like a very creative and original story for a season mode, where in this game like you had to use a created wrestler for the season mode, and what it really is just it really does show you becoming a well yeah, it really does show like your wrestler really becoming a WWE superstar, because it shows how like Vince McMahon has like hired you to the WWE, but you start at the very bottom. You start like in the developmental program, and then you have to really like work your way up to make it to the big time. So you really do start in the developmental stage where like coach is giving you various tasks asks to do in your match. And then you eventually like make your way to Sunday Night Heat, and then you eventually do make it to either Raw or SmackDown. You get to choose which show you go on. Yeah. And when I played through the season mode in this game, I chose Raw, so I was competing on Raw. And yeah, and the storylines on that you had in this game on Raw were pretty good. Like it was like you joined with Evolution, and then like but then you eventually end up getting kicked out of the group, and then you start feuding with Triple H, and then it culminates at WrestleMania where you finally challenge him for the World Heavyweight title and you win it. So yeah, so I did like the story in this game. Plus, I really did like how it really does show you like what it really does take to become a WWE superstar. You really do get a sense of what it really takes with starting at the very bottom and working your way up. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't actually know what does happen if you choose SmackDown to compete on, because yeah, I didn't play through it again to see what happened on SmackDown. I only played it for Raw, so I don't know what happens when you're on SmackDown. But yeah, what I did play on Raw, yeah, it really was a really good season mode, and I really did like it. Yeah. So yeah, and plus yeah, this game also did pretty much have the same number of matches, though. Yeah, what I found kind of like odd though about it is that it didn't have the Elimination Chamber match, and I find this kind of odd because it seemed like just the SmackDown series or the SmackDown versus Raw games were like it was only that series that had the Elimination Chamber, because yeah, the Elimination Chamber wasn't on any of the GameCube games, and even like on the games on the Xbox, because had the Elimination Chamber either, because Raw 2 and WrestleMania 21 were released. Like at the time those games were released, the Elimination Chamber, which was actually created, but still, like that match isn't in those games either. So I'm not really too sure why the Elimination Chamber isn't like in any of these games. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure why. Yeah, but regardless, yeah, Day of Reckoning still was just a really awesome game, and yeah, and I just really did enjoy the season mode. That really is like the game's true highlight. Yeah, so Day of Reckoning really was like a really great game. Yeah, and of course, but then yeah, with the success of that game, then the following year in 2005, then like it had a sequel which was appropriately named Day of Reckoning 2. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, and a lot of people do say that this game really is like a really like a real big improvement over the first game, and quite honestly, for the most part, I really can't disagree. I mean, yeah, this game, like, yeah, it really does do a lot of stuff better than the first game. Like, of course, like it does have like better graphics, and it also seems to have a better roster than the first Day of Reckoning does. And plus, it does once again have legends, and it has legends that weren't in the first game. Like this one has The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, Bret Hart, and Mankind. So yeah, so it does have I think a better uh, lineup of legends in the game. Yeah, and like I said, the graphics still are a lot better, and it is also kind of cool that like when you have like a submission hold on your opponent in the game, like you do like have like for like the C thumbstick in the game, you can like put turn it either up, down, left, or right, and it does like give you like an option, like what mode you actually want the submission to be in, and the opponent also has to turn put the thumbstick in direction also, and if they put it in the same direction as you, then they'll break it up, but if they don't, then the submission will like actually be locked in. Yeah. Yeah, and also like in this game, like you actually do have Tony Chimmel as the ring announcer during the entrances in the game, and this was like the only a GameCube game to actually have like the ring announcing in the game. And during the entrances, like the other three games don't have any ring announcing, but this one finally does. Though I'm not really sure why they only have Tony Chimmel doing the ring announcing. Why don't they have like Lean Garcia doing it for Raw events and Tony Chimmel for SmackDown events like they do in SmackDown in the SmackDown versus Raw games? So I really don't know exactly why it's just Tony Chimmel doing the ring announcing in the game. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Regardless, yeah, the controls still are like really good. It really does have like a really good graphical upgrade. And once again, like the big highlight for this game is the season mode, because yeah, what's interesting about the season mode in this game is that it really does like pick up like from like where the first game season mode ended. And because in this game, like it does kind of like take place, it's kind of like some time has passed by, but it still really does like is in continuation with the season mode from the first game, because it does acknowledge like the events that did happen in the first game. And once again, you do have to like use a created wrestler to go in the season mode. So, and that is something that does seem like kind of like annoying in a sense, because if you really do like want to have like true continuation, you really do have to pretty much like create the same character that you created in the first game and this one. If you really want it to be in like full continuation, and plus also like it does start off with like you on Raw, once again. So yeah, so that really does mean that you do have to actually make sure that you have played through this season mode of the first game on Raw if you want this to really be a full continuation. Yeah, and the story for the season mode in this game is that the World Heavyweight title has apparently gotten stolen, and you're being framed, or you're being like accused by a lot of people over it, and then you end up like getting framed for it, and you end up like getting fired from Raw and signing with SmackDown and stuff. But yeah, then it is eventually revealed that you aren't the one who stole the title, and then it like ends up like culminating at WrestleMania, where you're on SmackDown and you're the WWE champion. And then you have the opportunity to actually face a Triple H once again at WrestleMania. And yeah, for a chance for Triple H, who's still on Raw, to bring the WWE title over to Raw as well. And also, like in this game, you also are in a relationship with Stacy Keibler, so it does like have the angle where like at WrestleMania you're also fighting for Stacy Keibler's contract to come to SmackDown. Yeah, so I don't know, but personally, really don't know. I mean, I don't really know exactly how to feel about the season mode, because it's just like with the story arc of like the World Heavyweight title going missing, I just feel that it could have been done in a better way. Like, I really just feel that like it really could have been done better, because even like in the game, like your name doesn't even actually really get cleared with Eric Bischoff, and Eric Bischoff doesn't realize that you didn't do it. Like, it's never actually shown in the game that Eric Bischoff does find out the truth. So it pretty much is like you are just like staying on SmackDown and don't even get a chance to really come back to Raw. I just really felt that this really could have been done in a way where you actually like do go to SmackDown for a period of time, but after Eric Bischoff finds the truth, he brings you back to Raw. Now, I just really feel this could have been done in a similar way that in like the first SmackDown versus Raw game, there's that story arc where like there's a bounty on your head, and then you go to like the opposing show from the one that you're on, whether it's SmackDown or Raw. Like if you're a Raw superstar, you end up going to SmackDown, but then when like it's revealed that the general manager of the opposing show put the bounty on your head, then you are returned back to your normal show. I really kind of wish that that's how this would have been done. Similar to this, where after like the truth is found out, you do end up like going back to Raw, and that's not really how it goes down. Like you just like stay on SmackDown from that point on. So yeah, so that's just something I'm really not a fan of. I really just felt that it could have been done in a different way, to really make it so like your name really does get cleared. But yeah, despite that, like yeah, the season mode still overall is still like really really good, and a lot of people do regard it better than the first game, because they really feel that a lot of people really do think that the story mode for the first Day of Reckoning really is not that interesting, since like it has a slow start and everything, and here like it really does have like a bigger story and there's no slow start to it, so it does have improvements like that. But I'm just really not a fan of like the whole angle of like you going to SmackDown and stuff. Yeah, and plus, yeah, like I said, like if you really want this to really be like in full continuation, you really have to like do the stuff I was talking about. Like you have to make sure that you play through the season mode of the first Day of Reckoning game on Raw, and plus also you just really do have to really play the first game's season mode before you actually do play this one. So, like, if you didn't play the first game and you just like jump right into this one, you might kind of like be kind of like confused about what's going on. So you really do have to make sure that you play through the first game season mode before you do play this one. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, regardless of all of that, like all the mayhem there, like yeah, this game still overall, it is still like a really, really awesome game. Like a lot of people do regard this as the best game on the GameCube, and yeah, I can really see why. I mean, when I made that video when I was counting down on my pick for the top 10 best games, I did say like how when I was talking about the first Day of Reckoning that I didn't have this one on the list because I hadn't played it in a while. Because it had been really long since I played it, but since I have played this one now, yeah, I may, yeah, it is actually like a really good game, and I may actually really do prefer it over the first game. So yeah, so I might end up like doing like an updated video, kind of like redoing that video of my picks for the best wrestling games. So I may like redo it with like different picks since I have like played more games since I have done that video. I may like do an updated version of that video and really just do it over again and have like different games in there and just have different rankings of certain games in there. Yeah, but yeah, either way, yeah, that's another story. Yeah, this was still like a really awesome game and a really good like a finale for WWE games on the GameCube. Yeah, it's like I talked about before though. I'm not really exactly sure why like they didn't really like continue on with this series since like this game really was so beloved. I really am thinking it's just because these games really like just could not compete with the SmackDown versus Raw games because they really didn't sell nearly as well. And I guess due to like just how much they really just didn't the SmackDown versus Raw games really sold so much better. That's really like the main reason why just they didn't continue on with the series. So yeah, so that's kind of unfortunate. Yeah, but it is still a really good game. And so yeah, so I really do like it. All right, and so yeah, and so those are the WWE games for the Nintendo GameCube. So yeah, so there's only been 4 of these. There are only 4 of these games. So yeah, so they really didn't have a whole lot, but these are still overall pretty good games, and I really did enjoy the games on this system. Yeah, these were definitely like while they really couldn't compete with the games on the PS2, these were still like much better games than the games that came out on the Xbox around the same time were. So, yeah, so I guess you can at least say these were the second best wrestling games of the generation because, yeah, usually like these games really did have like their competing PS2 titles, but yeah. The Xbox games did come out like during the same year. Like Raw 2 did come out the same year as like Here Comes the Pain and WrestleMania 19, and WrestleMania 21 came out the same year as SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 and Day of Reckoning 2. So I guess you can say these are at least like the second best games of those 3 opposing titles. Yeah, and these are still overall like pretty good games. And yeah, like I said, while these games really were not very popular internationally when they were released, they have like really received like a lot of followings over the years. And yeah, they still did have like a very positive reception to them. So yeah, so overall, it is a pretty good series, and I do recommend checking out all 4 of these games. These are like really enjoyable games. All right, so yeah, so I guess that's all I can really say about these games. So yeah, so this is for my retrospective on the WWE GameCube games. So I hope you guys did enjoy this retrospective, and yeah, and I've got another one of these retrospectives in mind for another game series. So yeah, so that might be coming up sometime down the line. So yeah, that will be coming up sometime. And yeah, and plus yeah, and also like while I do now have this new job, I do have like a few other videos in mind to do coming up as well. So yeah, so stay tuned for those coming up. But anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.